Matt from Lake Geneva, hi.
Oh, hi. Thanks for taking my call.
Uh-huh.
There's an 800-pound gorilla in the room, and we're not talking about it at all. And I'm not amazed, but it is a sad thing. The banking system makes all of this possible. You know, we have a central bank in the United States that is basically an unregulated cabal of private bankers who can create money out of thin air. The state, the government has given them the power to create money out of thin air. So the projects of the military-industrial complex can never be reined in as long as we have this central bank, because they don't need the assent of the people to do what they do. They only need to create credit to keep funding these things. And I wish that someone of your stature, Mr. Jarecki, would use your high profile to shed some light on this undemocratic system that we have.
I think it's a very good idea. There's almost nothing I can add to what you just said that would make it any better, so I hope all the listeners heard it. What you can add to it only is current events, which is, of course, the bailout we just saw came with an enormous reinvigoration and re-centralization and increasing of that. If it was an 800-pound gorilla, it just became an 8,000-pound gorilla. I'll do everything I can. It is exactly as you describe it, and I know there's a book out called The Creature from Jekyll Island, which talks about the Federal Reserve System. A lot of people, for example, think that the Federal Reserve is a public institution. I was amazed recently to learn that it's a semi-private institution made up of many banks, many of whose names are not public information. These are astonishing facts when you start to understand that very smart, very rich, powerful people along the years have done a lot of mischief in Washington, and none of us were aware of it, and we're increasingly being able to wake up to it by reading books like mine, reading books like The Creature from Jekyll Island and others. I know there's a movie online, I think maybe it's called Zeitgeist, that I've heard about, which I think has to do with this whole sort of abortion of our system in this sense. People got to learn these things. And, if you're listening right now and you can Google, banking system, centralization, the Federal Reserve, start to learn about these things. That's the starting point. What you can then do about them has to do with exerting pressure on your leadership at the local, state, and federal level for transparency about this system. Without transparency, we can't even get them to admit to what's wrong with it.
The author of The American Way of War, Guided Missiles, Misguided Men, and a Republic in Peril, Eugene Jarecki, is with us, creator of the award-winning documentary, Why We Fight. And we're welcoming phone calls for him, 800-486-8655. If you're